This is the 864 podcast from Rob of the Green, providing you with some insights, ideas, and actionable takeaways in just 864 seconds, or 1% of your day, with the explicit goal of making you get a little better, even if it's just 1%. Here's your host, Rob O'Donoghue. Let's do this.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the 864 podcast, well into the season, as I like to say, and hopefully you're enjoying what you're hearing. This episode is with Niall Kelly, who is the managing director for trythetrend.com. And what is Try the Trend? Well, we get into that in the episode. We talk about Niall's vision for the company, his background, his experience, some challenges he's faced over the last 18 months, and some learnings from all of that. Full of good information that if you're an entrepreneur yourself, you might look to apply and take on board. The area is an exciting space, a new business model, and certainly one to watch. So enjoy the podcast with Niall Kelly, and please do hang around for the last 60 seconds after the chat with Niall so you can hear more about the 864 podcast, how to get in touch, how to help me get it in the ears of others. So look, enjoy this episode with Niall Kelly. Thanks and good luck. Hey folks, welcome to the 864 podcast, and my guest today is Niall Kelly. Niall, welcome to the show.
Hey Rob, thanks very much for having me.
So we're going to talk for the next 14 and a half or so minutes about you, about your new business, and I'm sure other stuff that will come up along the way. So ready for it?
Of course, yeah, no problem.
So with that, let's tell us a bit about yourself now.
Okay, so I'm the managing director of trythetrend.com. We're an online personal styling platform for men. Essentially how our business works is guys who don't have the time or inclination for shopping for clothing, they come onto our platform, give us some very basic information about their size, style, brands they like, budgets, and we put them together with a personal stylist that puts together a collection of products unique to that person, delivers it to them to their house or office for them to try. They have 5 to 6 days to try on the products. What they like they keep, what they don't they put back in the box, and we collect free of charge. So that's it in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, it sounds like you have that one wrapped that down.
I've repeated that one a lot in the last couple of months.
Pitched that one out a little bit. So it's a model, like we were talking offline, and it's something I've kind of heard a bit about in the past, being a podcast listener, similar to yourself, something that I had heard in the US, and certainly a good platform on podcasts for advertising. No hints there. But talk to me a bit about where the model came from and why you decided to maybe try it in Ireland.
Yeah, so the model's been around for a while. It's mostly prominent in the US actually. There's been a number of companies that have come out of the US in the last 5 or 6 years doing this business model. Probably the most famous would be Stitch Fix and Trunk Club, both of which have went on to do great things in the last couple of years. It's also been operating around Europe. There's a lot of it in Germany, a lot of it in the UK as well. But we spotted that there was a gap in the market really here in Ireland for it, that no company had really focused their efforts on the Irish market with this business model. So we naturally saw that there was an opportunity there. So about 2 years back, we started developing a very early stage version ourselves that we were able to go around to various different investors with and show it to them. And then, 15 months down the road, we got our investment and we have our own version out there and it's going very strongly. So yeah, I'd love to say we invented it, but unfortunately it's been around for a while and we just saw a huge opportunity here in Ireland with it. Yeah.
Brilliant. So talk to me a bit more about you. Were you always one with an entrepreneurial mindset and was setting up a company always what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think it was really. I mean, I started off from a very early age running my own business. My family had a business actually in Clonmel in Tipperary, where I'm originally from, and I suppose I was in a very privileged position that as soon as I finished college, I was able to go into that business and start running it myself. And we did very well for a number of years, and it was a great experience. Massive experience for a person that young to have. And I saw so many different facets of business and running your own business. I subsequently, actually, after I went into employment, I trained as an accountant for a number of years. Went to Dublin, worked and trained in Dublin for maybe 4 or 5 years as an accountant. But I suppose in the back of my mind, I always had that I wanted to get back into working for myself and doing my own thing. And I took a year out actually to do a master's degree in Smurfit Business School. And somewhere along the road in that year, I kind of saw this business model. I saw the potential it had. And we began the very, very early stages of putting together what is now Try the Trend. So yeah, I guess from a personal level, I always felt I was going to get back into working for myself, yeah, for sure.
Cool. So the masters you did, it was around strategy and planning, I think, was it?
Yeah, so it was in Smurfit Business School. It was strategic management and planning. So it's all about management and planning of organisations, big and small, and various different operations from HR right through to finance in these businesses, and how you need to organise operations within an organisation. So yeah, brilliant education really into what goes into, especially major organisations, all the different facets of the business, which I think for any startup, it's good to have a background into, the various different functions within an organisation, because I think in startup land, even though you're very small, you still have to have little facets of each of those areas in an organisation. So absolutely, yeah, great experience. Yeah.
Taking the skills and knowledge you had from that, I'm always fascinated around how you put together your vision and mission and strategic objectives for the organisation. Did you apply all of those learnings?
You did. I mean, absolutely you did. I mean, look, essentially it's the same thing. It's just at a smaller level in the beginning. I mean, you have all the same things, like managing your finances, putting together the kind of roadmap for the business, milestones that have to be achieved first in order to move on to the next one. And absolutely you do. You do see elements of major organisations in every startup, albeit much smaller, obviously, but you can see how, as your business grows and how it becomes a bigger entity, how all these operations will start to form and take shape and become, proper functions within bigger organisations. So absolutely, yeah, you do.
So it wasn't just learning for the sake of learning, you actually were able to apply it.
Look, yeah, like any course, I think there is a certain amount of learning for the sake of learning, but yeah, absolutely, I think it was a lot more practical course than most, for sure. Brilliant.
So the name, right, I'm fascinated about naming your business, and I guess when I even think back about Rob of the Green, I was struggling for a while, and a friend of mine kind of gave it to me as an example. And sometimes when you land on the name, fuck, that's it. Yeah. How did you work through the process to get to try the trend, because it fits, right?
Yeah, I mean,
no pun intended there by fitting.
No, I mean, look, yeah, I mean, actually there was a good bit of time that went into finding a name. It's a very important part of any business, but I suppose from our point of view, we were looking for a couple of things. We obviously had in the back of our minds that we want to move beyond the Irish market, so having a .com was important to us. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, there's a shortage of .coms out there at the moment. So you're always trying to find something that fits the kind of motif of whatever the business you're trying to do is kind of explicit and explanatory of what the business is and what it does, but also kind of keeping that .com. So that was very much the two things we wanted to have. Is number one, that it was a .com. Number two, it was very explicit about what the type of business we were. And that from just reading the name of the business alone, you'd have an idea of what our service was. So those were the two things that went into it. And we went through a huge process of the big list of names and putting X's beside the ones we didn't like and ticks beside the ones we did. And eventually we whittled it down to trythetrend.com, which is, I mean, as you said, it fits the bill. It does what it says in the tin, and that's very much what we were looking to do with the name. We wanted people to know immediately what our business was all about.
Did you have to go into kind of focus groups or any processes around like that to land on it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we were lucky enough, as I mentioned earlier, to get investment on board with the business, and we worked with an investment fund called Lucy Fund in Dublin. And as part of that, we had access to their marketing team and their tech team, and there was a lot of focus groups and a lot of conversation around what names suited best and what people liked and what people didn't like. And as I said, we had the big list of kind of short list of what we were looking at, and there was a lot of conversations ahead how we whittled it eventually down to try the trend. It wasn't just a day, this is over a couple of weeks to make sure that whatever we started with was the right name and that we weren't going to be changing it in a couple of months or anything like that. So a lot of conversation around it, and a lot of thought process went into it, a lot more than people would actually realise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get it. So it's 100% online business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So essentially how it works, as I said, people come onto the platform, give us some very basic information to start with. We take a small registration fee off them, and then they're put in contact with one of our stylists. And that can happen either online, through email, through WhatsApp, whatever you like, or it can be a phone call, whatever suits the person the best. And on that conversation, a lot more explicit data is gotten. So, there's a lot of, decisions that go into someone, wearing a piece of clothing. So we want to make sure that every person that comes through the website, that they're really listened to by a real person, by a real qualified stylist, so that their exact tastes and their exact, needs are taken into account. Then once that conversation is had, then the selection process on our end starts with our stylist picking the products, curating the offer, putting it into packaging and sending it to the person. And obviously we want to do that in as seamlessly and as easy a way as we possibly can. So it's 100% online, but there is that offline conversation piece too, which is very important.
Sure. So you're, what, about 15, 17 months in? You said it was taking a while to build a platform and then properly out there since November.
We're trading about 8 months at this stage.
Okay.
And there's obviously, with any tech business, there's a number of months and a number of processes that have to go into place before the tech is developed, and even before the tech development even begins. There's a lot of planning that has to take place. So we started the whole journey, I suppose, roughly 15, 16 months ago, and we're maybe more, even 16, 17 months ago, and we're trading about 7, 8 months at this stage. So there's a lot of work that actually goes into these tech businesses before they actually start. And I think a lot of people in starting businesses don't actually realize that.
Mm-hmm. So with that, if you went back to before you started, what one big thing would you have maybe done differently that you've learned along the way?
Sure. I mean, look, there's a lot of things we've done differently, but I think the two main things that I've realized now is when you're starting a business, everything takes longer than you think, and everything costs more than you think.
Right.
And there were the two things I would say. If a developer quotes you a time to get something developed, you can double that, if not triple it. And when you double and triple the hours, then the cost goes up. And so you have to be aware of that. When you're setting your budgets, when you're setting your timelines, you need to be able to stretch them out a little bit further, because the chances are things don't run smoothly. Errors happen, things have to be fixed, bugs come into software, bugs come into tech. And you have to allow for time to fix these things out and make sure that what you start with is good, and that you're not starting with something that's a little bit half-baked, and you need to allow for that and allow for the money and the time that takes.
Advice then, you've had kind of advice along the way. Have you had mentors along the way that have been very valuable?
I mean, I've had mentors. Funnily enough, my mentors would be going way back. If I talk to the original business I worked on, my father was obviously the founder of that business. And, very astute man, very clever man, and he grew a great business out of nothing, essentially. So I mean, he's always been a great inspiration to me, definitely a mentor. As I mentioned, we worked with Lucy Fund, and Ian Lucy himself, the CEO of that business, has been great from the start. He's really guided us along the way and given us some fantastic advice. And, even to this day, we try and talk with him as much as we can whenever we need someone to, we have an issue or a problem. He's a great ear to listen, so... absolutely, he's been brilliant, and just personal people I trust along the way as well. Absolutely, lots of people there.
So the vision, like scaling, is a question I like to ask people as well. It's always difficult to scale. Have you thought about that, or what does that look like in the coming weeks and months?
Scaling, I suppose, comes down to funding and investment rounds. So we're in the process of trying to get another investment round on board now as well. So. In order to scale a business, you need to get sales, but you need capital behind you to get those sales. So we've done very well till now, but to get to that next level, we have milestones we need to achieve. So absolutely, we're in the process of getting another funding and investment round on board, and the plan is to get to a level within Ireland within the next 7 to 8 months, and then look geographically spread to the UK or maybe further abroad as well. So you're always looking at it in a step-by-step process and trying to achieve each milestone as you move along. And I think to achieve real scale with the business that we're in, you need to be looking abroad and looking beyond just the Irish market. So certainly within the next 12 to 15 months, we'd be hoping to be in the UK or further abroad even.
And I guess similar to the US model, geographical dispersion or distance isn't a big challenge. You can probably get a box of clothes to somebody anywhere in Europe quite quickly, and the appeal could still be...
You can. I mean, we work with DPD as our partner in our deliveries and collections, so it's obviously a multinational company all over the world, so there shouldn't be any problems there in terms of that. Again, it's a volumes game. Once you're doing the numbers, there's no issues. But Brexit now might pose a bit of a difference, obviously, between the UK and Ireland. I'm sure there will be issues ahead with that, but generally speaking, these companies are equipped to deal with deliveries and collections all over the globe, so that's not a problem really.
Right, very good. Well, we're 12 and a half minutes in, so the last couple of minutes are more just kind of probably random questions. Number between 1 and 100.
Okay,
go for it.
30.
Number 30. Decision making. How do you make decisions? Is it analytical? Is it gut? You have a co-founder. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, a little bit of both. You obviously have your gut feeling on everything, but then once you kind of have that kind of initial idea, you do sit down, you talk with the people around you, the people involved in the business, and then you look at it from their point of view too, and you go one way, you either go with your way or they agree with you, and it's one or the other, So it's a mixture of both, I would say. Gut first of all, and then actually sitting down and having a proper conversation with the people involved in the business.
Okay, very good. Another number.
52.
52. Okay, so it's a wish question. So if you could have one wish for the business, I guess, what would it be that would bring, and don't say like $1 billion finance or something, but what's a kind of a realistic wish?
I guess my realistic wish is that we achieve the goals we have set for ourselves in the next 3 years, so that we want to be, trading outside of Ireland internationally with a very, very well-run company that's operationally excellent, and that's what we hope to do. And we're putting those steps in place now, and hopefully now within the next 3 years we'll achieve our goals.
Oh, very good. All right, last one. Another number?
92.
92. What is it that excites you most about the business?
I love everything about working in the business from day to day, but the thing that excites me the most is I love the fact that when we sit down and we look at what we've achieved till now, it all started with just a concept and nothing in the beginning. A few bob in our pockets that we went away, built a very early stage version. We've managed to go from that to where we are now, and every time I look at that, it excites me. And when I see how positive the future is and how much more potential we have to grow and actually achieve our goals, it's thrilling, really, or delighted with it.
Brilliant. Excellent. Niall, look, that flew by. I appreciate you coming in and telling the story. I think it's a great model. It's something I'm very excited to see how it goes over the next while. Just last couple of minutes, seconds, just give a shout out how people can obviously get to the website, reach out to you.
Yeah, sure. Well, the website's trythetrend.com, so you can get to us there. If anyone wants to contact me, just info@trythetrend.com is our email. If you want to link me on LinkedIn or anything like that, we're happy to talk to you. Or try any of the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you like.
Anyone wants to give you some investment,
anyone wants to give us investment, absolutely.
Brilliant. Niall, look, thanks for coming on to the 864. I appreciate it, and I look forward to sharing with the audience.
Thanks very much, Rob. Enjoyed it.
Thanks. Hey folks, so that was the 864, 864 seconds or thereabouts, and I hope you enjoyed it. Was there one key takeaway that stood out? Was it good? Was it bad? I would love to hear about it. So in the few seconds that remain, and to be fair, I've probably gone over, but I have a few asks. Please do subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes so that you never miss another show. You've heard that one before. I would love if you leave a rating and or a review. All of these help get the show further up the rankings, which means more people see the podcast and then hopefully hear it. It means a lot to me. Follow me on Rob of the Green or on Spreaker.com/Rob of the Green. That's where all the podcasts are hosted, but on the Rob of the Green site you can get to everything. The 1% Better podcast, this one, the 1 Minute Monday videos, and you can also connect in with me through the website. There's a feedback page, or on any of the socials. Just look for @Rob of the Green or Rob of the Green. I think you get the picture. Finally, give yourselves a round of applause because you've all been so lovely, and thanks for listening. Have a great day and good luck.